Hi everyone, my name is Gayle. I'm so glad you're joining me today for this mellow practice that's perfect for you if you've been standing all day and you just want to get off your feet. You want to stretch out your shoulders, stretch out your hips, take a moment for some quiet time and just relax, but also break up some of that tension and tightness that may have developed during the day. So let's start by closing our eyes and focusing inward on your breath. Feel the inner lift as you inhale and that relaxing downward as you exhale. So let your body be free and open to receive the breath. And just think of any tension you may be holding trickling down into the ground, leaving your body. Let's begin to cat-cow, seated. So as you inhale, stretch your chest forward, and as you exhale, round your spine. And just go back and forth, moving with your breath, rocking on your sit bones. You can even think of giving your hips, your butt, a little massage, a little gentle massage. And come back to center on your next inhale. Sweep your arms up. Interlace your fingers, rotate the palms up. Then reach over to your right. Keep stretching out through the palm of your hands. Inhale back to center, reach over to the left. And just glide gently from side to side, moving with your breath at your pace, without trying to rush anything. And maybe slower movement feels better for you now. Maybe a little bit faster movement feels better. It's not like we're trying to race or go really fast. Then release your hands, bring your right hand down, reach your left arm across, root down through your left hip and reach from your hip bones all the way to your fingertips. Letting your right side contract as you expand the left side, and then come all the way over to the other side. Same thing, reaching. And just glide side to side. Taking enough time to feel the fullness of the stretch. Maybe you could circle your wrists if you like. And switch to the other side. And come back up to center, cactus your arms, bringing your elbows about the same height as your shoulders. Take a big breath in, and on your exhale, twist over to your left. Inhale back to center, exhale, twist to your right. And one more time, each side twisting. Inhaling back to center, exhaling into your twist. Nice, release your hands, cross your right ankle above your left knee, take the fingers of your left hand and just slide them between your toes. Getting in there nice and tight. Grab the big toe mound and take your opposite hand, hold onto your foot and just think of creating some traction. So I guess I'm actually grabbing my big toe above the big toe mound. And then you can use your hands to point and flex your toes. Get in there with that right thumb and just give a kind of a deep massage into the soles of your feet. I mean, think about it. These small things have held up your body weight, like, for most of the day if you're coming to this practice from standing. And just think you want to get in there and just make sure that the fascia, the connective tissue, is able to shear back and forth across itself. So we want the web of the fascia to be moist and supple and pliable. Our feet have 26 bones, 33 joints, and over 100 tendons and ligaments. So that allows for a lot of movement. But if we're in shoes all day and on flat, hard floors, then we don't get that movement, and we've got to bring it in here somehow. So walking barefoot around the house is really good. Taking time for some self-massage is great. Now spread your toes and see if you can hold the space between your toes open. And let's switch to the other side. So thread the fingers of your right hand between your left toes. And see if you can get all the way to the base of your toes, the base of your fingers. So it's in there pretty snug. Create a little traction by stretching out through the big toe in particular, holding back with your left hand. And then start to flex and extend, massage. Just get in there with the idea of you're getting to know your foot. So you're not just like thinking about, I don't know, eating some chocolate. You're thinking about your foot and, oh, wow, isn't that interesting? Oh, that feels good. Like, oh, I can feel the tendon of my big toe. You know, all these little interesting things you can feel and begin to acknowledge. And just gently slide your fingers out, spread the toes nice and wide, admire the space between your toes. And then come back, hug your knees into your chest. Like you're giving yourself a nice little love hug. And lean back enough. Whoa, not as far back as I just did. Lean back just enough so stay a little more upright and lift your toes off the floor so they're hovering. And then tap your toes down and lift them up, and tap and lift. And open your knees out nice and wide. Open the soles of your feet apart from each other. And then again, just get in there with your thumbs, kind of try and open up the outer edges of the foot. And you can massage up the inner calves, right along the tibia. And stretch your left leg out, bring your right foot to your left inner thigh. Press your foot into your thigh and lift up nice and tall. Keeping that length in your spine, start to walk your hands forward towards your foot. And you can do little cat-cows here. So arching your heart toward your toes and then rounding your back away from your feet. And you could add your whole back, or you could just do little pelvic tilts. So if your hamstrings are tight, you might not be able to get your chest very close to your leg. And then if they're more open, you might be able to lower down a little bit more, but just find what feels comfortable for you. I mean, I feel like we can't give our feet too much TLC, so if you can get your hands down by your feet, maybe massage it a little bit more again. And walk your hands back and switch sides. Again, staying long through the spine at first, like finding that space, kind of trying to decompress what may have been happening from standing all day or sitting all day, and then take that lift and that length and pour it out over your leg. And again, you can do those gentle cat-cow movements. And walk your hands back. Open your feet apart from each other. Not as wide as you can, but fairly wide. And start to walk your hands forward. So you should feel a nice stretch along the inside of both legs. The more you stretch your belly toward the floor rather than your chest, like if you stretch the belly first, you'll feel quite a big stretch pull on the inner thighs. Unless you're one of those, you could be hypermobile and not feel what I'm talking about much at all. Now see if you can point your toes and flex your feet. And just go back and forth from pointing and flexing. And walk your hands back. Bring your right foot to your left inner thigh again. Again, twist over your leg. This time reach your right hand to the outside of your left foot, creating more of a twist. Take your left hand by your side and push down and forward through your left hand without moving it, as you maybe pull back on the outside edge of your foot. And release your hand, bring it all the way across your body, lift your hips up. And reach. Nice, lower back down. And we'll switch sides again. So find your sit bones rooting, reach your arm up and across. Place your right hand by your side and push down and forward. Finding your twist. And reach your arm back up and across, lift your hips up. And lower down, coming back to seated. Place your feet on the floor and cross your right ankle above your left knee. The closer you bring your chest to your leg to your chest, the more of a stretch it'll be. So just find, again, that place that feels firm but gentle, like a little bit intense, but a little bit, you're still able to breathe and relax easily. And just gently rock from side to side. And let's switch our feet. So left ankle crosses above right knee. And gently rock from side to side. Uncross your feet and play with Gomukhasana. So bring your right heel in over by your left hip and see if you can stack your knees. So I'm thinking of stacking my knees on top of each other. Now, if you can't do that, you can sit cross-legged. So find what's going to work for you. You can bring your feet away from your hips. It's a little more intense, or you can have your heels back by your hips. Reach your right arm up like you're trying to reach something on the ceiling, and then bend your elbow, reach your hand down your back. Bring your left arm out to the side and externally rotate the shoulder and internally rotate. Just go back and forth. Try not to let your head drop forward, but lift up, and you can even press your head into your arm a little bit as you rotate your shoulder. And swing your left arm behind you, bend your elbow, reach your hand up your back. See if maybe you can find your fingers, and maybe you clasp the fingers, maybe you just imagine that your fingertips are touching. And we'll hold this here for a few breaths. Now, if this bothers your shoulder, if you've had some kind of rotator cuff injury, then you might want to have your hand a lot lower on your back. So it's important to listen to what your body's telling you. And release your hands, bring your right hand down, reach your left arm across. And switch sides. One more time each side. It just felt so good. Nice. Come back to center. Lean back. Uncross your legs and switch. So the right knee is on top this time. Figure out where you want your feet to be. And reach your left arm up. Reach tall so you create space on this left side. Then bend your elbow, reach your hand down your back. Bring your right arm out to the side. And just internally and externally rotate the shoulder. Next time your shoulder's internally rotated, swing your arm behind your back Bring your elbow in as tightly as you can and walk your hand up your back. Remember not to let your head drop, but keep a lift. And slowly release your hands. Bring your left hand down, stretch over to your left, and then back over to your right. And come back to center, uncross your legs, and come on into tabletop. Rest your hips back on your heels in child's pose. Walk your fingers forward. On your next inhale, round forward, all the way into your cobra. Lowering the hips down, arcing your heart forward, drawing your shoulders back, and maybe even trying to do a little bit of a posterior tilt of your pelvis to protect your low back. Then bow forward, but lift up through your back and back into child's pose. Inhale, round forward. As you come forward, start to lower your thighs down and start to arc your back. Arch your back. And then kind of bow forward, puff up into your back ribs, slide back into child's pose. One more time. Inhale, curl forward, lower the hips, arch through your spine. And then lower your head, puff up and back into child's pose. And walk your hands back. Bring your right hand behind your right foot and reach your hips forward and up. And lower your hips down. Swing your left arm off to the side. Again, lift your hips up. And one more time each side. Lifting and opening. Good. Come on back down. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up for downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward and come onto your backs. Hug your knees into your chest and just rock your knees around in circles, both directions. Place your feet on the floor, lift and shift your hips over to the right. Straighten your left leg on the ground and your right leg up in the air. Open your right arm out to the side. Take your left hand, hold your right foot or ankle, and bring your leg all the way across your body. So think that your upper body is twisting to the right, lower body is twisting to the left. And if you want, if you have this available to you, if you can manage it, if you can bend your left knee and reach with your right hand for your left foot, you can get a nice quad stretch as well as stretching the whole back of your right leg. Let your shoulders rest down. Let your body just sink into the pose. And we'll stay here about 5 more breaths. If you are holding your left foot, release it now. Pull your right hip back to the earth to float your right leg up. Center your hips between your shoulders and float your right leg down. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So lift and shift your hips a little bit to the left. Bring your left leg up in the air. Open your left arm out to the side. Take your right hand across, holding whatever part of your left leg you can reach, your foot, your ankle, or your calf, and rest your left leg over to the right. Again, if you want, you could try and bend your right knee, reach for your foot with your left hand, and just relax here. The more you bring your right knee back and your right heel towards your hip, the more stretch you'll feel on that right quad, which could feel really good. And we'll relax here. Just focus on your exhale and letting go. We'll stay here about 5 more breaths. If you were holding your right foot, release it now. Bring your left hip back to the ground to float your left leg up. Center your hips and let your left leg float down. Bend your knees, hug your knees into your chest, and then widen your knees coming into happy baby, and just gently rock from side to side. Then bring your knees together again. Give yourself a nice big hug. And interlace your fingers on the front of your right shin. Stretch your left leg out, reaching out through your toes as you gently pull your knee in towards your shoulder. And come into a half happy baby. And switch sides. Hug the left knee in. Stretch out through your right toes. Gently guide your left knee towards your left shoulder. And then come into half happy baby on the left side. Bring your right leg back up again for full happy baby. And release your feet to the floor. Just, again, center your hips and pick your hips up just a little bit. Tilt your tailbone towards your heels to lengthen out your back. Lower it down and float your feet up in the air and your arms up in the air. Make sure to keep your shoulders down, so not to reach up like this. But this is a resting position called dead bug pose. Just let your shoulders get heavy and your hips get heavy. And feel your feet getting lighter, your hands getting lighter. And just stay here in stillness, relaxing. This is so great for you if you've been on your feet all day, or even if you've been sitting a lot, or if you've injured any part of your foot or your ankle. You could also do this with your hips against the wall and your feet up the wall. I want to stay here just a little bit longer to let the heaviness really settle in. So the sensation in your hands and feet probably feels quite different than how it normally does during the day when you're using them. And find that sweet surrender. Notice if you feel a sense of timelessness, like you're just floating in time and space. Unbend your knees, gently lower your heels toward your hips, give yourself a little hug, and stretch out for Savasana. Rest your feet on the floor, arms out by your side with the palms facing up. And just focus on completely relaxing and letting go. Allow your exhales to be a little longer than your inhales, just lengthening them out. And just floating into that parasympathetic state of rest and digest. With every exhale, see if you can feel a sense of deep inner peace and the willingness to let go. You're welcome to stay here as long as you like. Otherwise, you can start to move your fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, gently roll to your side, bringing your hands down and just lightly pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat. Let your hands rest on your thighs and feel the breath pulsing in and out of you. See if you can be at peace with the feeling of that you're in control of your breath, and at the same time, you're being breathed. Something greater than you is breathing life into you, connecting you with all living things. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. Please bring your hands together in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I hope that you're feeling really relaxed and that your feet are feeling happier and your shoulders and your hips, and that you just kind of feel like you have a new lease on life after maybe a pretty hard day. And just know that your mat is always here for you. Make time for that rest and relaxation. Make time for yourself to recuperate and recoverate. It's recuperate and recover, so that you're just honoring what your needs are. We need to rest, we need to relax, we need to take care of ourselves. So thank you so much for joining me. Please leave me a comment below. Let me know if anything that you'd like to request for future classes, And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.